Hey you guys, Mrs. Kirchhoff here. This week you are going to be analyzing some poetry, so I wanted to give you a brief rundown of what the work looks like for this week. So let's check it out. So on the next slide, you'll see there's some tips, 8 steps on how to study a poem. So step 1, predict, look at the title, try to make a prediction about what the poem is going to be about. Then you're going to read the poem several times, read it and then read it again. And then you might want to stop there and look up any words that you don't know. So you could use a dictionary, you could look these up on Google. If there's something that stands out to you and is hindering you from understanding the poem, look up the definition. Then find a private area where you can maybe read this poem out loud, like go to your room or basement or even step outside. Read the poem out loud so you can hear the words and especially the rhythm and the tone. See if you can figure out the context of the poem. So whether this is maybe looking up some information about the author or even just researching the poem or some of the references that are made. And then try to identify what the poem is saying at the literal level and then take it to the next step with the figurative level. And then finally, look at poetic devices, which I'll come back to in a minute. So there's 4 different poems that you can choose from this week. If you go here, if you just click on the title, it'll open up a copy of your school textbook. And I'd really encourage you guys just to kind of take a brief, look at all of these before you just pick one at random. Just kind of look at all of them. And if you scroll down here as well, there's some information about the author included too. And so this will help you with understanding the context of the poem. So all 4 of these poems are linked, including information about the author. So you only need to pick one of these poems to work with for the assignment this week. So I said I'd come back to figurative language, and we're circling back around to that. Here's a quick overview and cheat sheet of poetic figurative language, so simile, metaphor, idioms, personification, onomatopoeia, and hyperbole. And then 2 quick videos that review rhyme and repetition. So not all poems are going to have a rhyme scheme, and the 4 that are linked here may not, and that's okay. A lot of poems don't, but usually there is something going on with the rhythm of the poem, and that's where it really becomes beneficial to say the poem out loud or read it out loud to look for that rhythm pattern. So take a look at these 2 videos for more information. Now it's your turn. So now you're going to open up the poetry template file and you're going to design a slideshow where you interpret the poem that you picked. I'm going to jump over here and show you that. So this is the poetry template. You're going to jazz this up, add background colors, add images, clip art, all that good stuff. Change the color of the font, all those types of things. So on this first slide, if you could just put the title of the poem that you picked, who it's written by, and then your name as well. On the next slide, this is where you are going to include the full text of the poem. And if you would like to, for extra credit, you can record a video of yourself reading the poem out loud and link it here. You don't have to do that, but it is a nice extra credit option. But definitely please do include the full text of the poem on this slide. Then you're going to include some information about the author. So this, you should definitely have a picture. You should have some information either that you've gathered from the internet or on that page that was uploaded in the slideshow that I just showed you. At least 5 or so facts about the author on this slide. Then you're going to get into the literal meaning of the poem. So please include some pictures, like on the literal level, what is this poem getting at? And then I'd like you to go deeper by taking a look at the figurative language and the figurative meaning. So explain the figurative meaning of the poem, or at least one different way to interpret it. There might be multiple ways the poem can be interpreted. Please explain as many as possible and include actual quotes from the poem as well as pictures. On the sixth slide, you're going to analyze rhyme, repetition, and syllables. So think about these questions as you create this slide. Does the poem rhyme? If it does, explain the rhyme pattern. If not, explain why the author may not have used a rhyme scheme for this poem. Does the rhyme repeat at all, or is there anything interesting about the syllable pattern? You can analyze that and give your interpretation here. On this last slide is your recommendation. So identify someone specific or at least a type of person who you think might enjoy this poem. And then, of course, as you're filling this out, you're going to delete all of this and you can put your own headings in here if you would like to and jazz up the slides with pictures. If you have any questions about these assignments for this week, please make sure you join the Zoom session on Wednesday. You can contact me during office hours or you can email me at any time and I'll get back to you. I can't wait to see what you come up with and I hope you have a great week. Go Bears!